Hi, this is Carl the Cobra Frutch, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal Khan for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. With me, I'm delighted to be joined by a good old friend, a man that has always given me his time over the years, Mr. Archie the Sharpshooter Sharp. Archie, good evening. Happy weekend. How are you, firstly? How you been?
Yeah, good evening, my friend, and thanks for having me on. But no, all is good, my end, mate. All is good, thank you. How are you? All well, your end?
Yeah, very well. Thank you for asking. How's the family and how's life been for you as of late since we last spoke?
Yeah, it's all well. Busy, busy, busy. Kids are getting bigger, more attitude, but no, they're all well.
I can definitely relate to that. Archie, obviously, before we sort of like get into the nitty gritty of the interview, I think it's only right that we start off the interview by getting your thoughts on Ricky Hatton, who tragically passed away. It's coming up to 2 weeks now. Growing up, Ricky Hatton was one of my favorite fighters. I loved everything about Ricky. I loved loved the fan base that he gained in boxing. Loved watching his fights against the likes of the Colazzos and even the build up to the Mayweather fight was always one of my most favorite build-ups in boxing. A fighter such as yourself who's chasing world title ambitions and trying to make a name for yourself in the game. What did Ricky Hatton mean to you as a fighter, and what's your fondest memory of Ricky?
Yeah, I have to agree with everything you just said there. Like, what a great inspiration, to all of us fighters and all us British fighters. You know, he was, yeah, what a great fighter, unbelievable. I didn't know Ricky very personally. I've been in his presence a couple of times, but I know his son, so obviously my condolences to the family and thinking of them all. And it's just such a, still can't really get over it, you know. Such 46, 46. Am I correct? It's just
Mhm.
it's no life, is it? But yeah, my thoughts with the family.
Absolutely. And I believe a lot of people have now spoken up highly about there needs to be more done for people that are suffering with mental health. As a fighter, I know you've had trials and tribulations throughout your career so far. I mean, is are we now hoping that the hierarchy in boxing and many more people are going to look to do more with those that are potentially suffering from mental health?
Yeah, for sure. Like I say, it's a hard sport as it is, and with all the other added pressures on top, it's you can see why it can get older people. Like I say, I've been in some dark places with the sport myself, you know, um, and it is hard, mate. It is really, really hard. So hopefully, yeah, there is something that can help.
Fingers crossed. 100% agree with everything you've just said there, Archie. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the Hatton family. Moving on, Archie. Obviously, we know you were meant to fight this weekend. Fight hasn't gone through with whatever reason. What can you tell us about a potential date you're meant to be fighting next? And can you tell us about a potential opponent that may be in line for you next?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not on tonight. I'm gutted, but things out of my control. And obviously, I couldn't be in the ring this evening, so we just have to move on, and hopefully get a date soon. I'm itching to get back out. Want to get back into some big fights and some big names. No one potential, no names on the cards at the minute, but I just want to jump straight back into big fights.
That's one thing I really respect about you, Archie. I mean, I've followed your career since, I mean, going all the way back to the early days of the amateurs, past the amateurs into that Lions Den fight with Leon Woodstock, and then you've had the 50-50s with the Ryan Garners and the Maxi Hugheses. And boxing can be a very fickle sport at times. People say a couple of defeats mean this guy's not good enough, but is it fair to say that those fights are going to give you the best experience possible going forward, and these defeats could potentially make you a better fighter?
Yeah, I agree. I believe so because look, I know it's easy for me to say, but them two losses for me, like I would definitely want to redeem them. You know, like I would love to have the Ghana fight back, and I love to take the Maxi Hughes fight back. The Ghana fight, they just got me at the right time. 130, I just overstayed the weight. I just wasn't myself. First couple of rounds, you could see the Archie Sharp when I was moving, making him miss, falling through ropes. For the first three, I think it was 3 or 4 rounds, and the bad cut happened. Next minute, you know, I'm standing there trading off. I just never had the energy to move. You know, my brain, my body wasn't doing what my brain was telling me to do. And in respect, and then into regards to of the Maxi Hughes fight. Obviously, it was my first time at lightweight, first 12 rounder, first time fighting someone who's been at world level. It's been a long time since I beat like the likes of the great fighters that have beaten the amateurs, at that sort of level. So there was a few boxes to be ticked and questions answered. But I believe I did really, to be honest with you. Like I say, in on the night of the fight, I know what I had to do with Maxi. The game plan was to draw Maxi on, and I think fair to say that I know I've been getting the backlash and a lot of sticks and I was moving, but I'm fighting a former world champion who couldn't close the distance with me and couldn't engage the fight himself. He was falling over his own feet. He didn't really know what to do himself in there. Obviously, my perspective, I was just a little bit too negative. I should have just capitalised more when I was making it miss instead of just kind of boring it down, because the thing is with Maxi, when you watch Maxi, if you push Maxi and you go forward with Maxi, that's when he looks well. So my game plan was to bring him out of his comfort zone, bring him forward, which I done, but I just needed to capitalise more because at the time of the night, I still thought I was doing enough to nick the little jabs here, the little body shots here. I thought that was enough to kind of sway it. But being the away fighter, being in his home, in his backyard, I needed to be a little bit more convincing. And watching it back, all I had to do was throw a few more jabs and a few more 1-2s, and then I'd beaten arguably one of the most avoided fighters in Britain at the minute in lightweight. So them two losses, yeah, I don't feel like. Do you know what I mean? That I was in there and got beat by better fighters who I had no answers to. Like, if you run the Garner fight back at lightweight, you'll see what I do there. You run the Maxi Hughes fight back, it'll be a completely different fight. Trust me, I'll box him southpaw, and I reckon I could get him out of there.
You say now that you more or less overstayed your welcome. What was it, at 130?
Yeah.
How comfortable are you at the current weight that you're in right now? And could you potentially see yourself maybe going up to 147, or would you say you're comfortable at the weight that you're currently campaigning at?
Obviously, I've only had the one fight at 130, but there's no reason why I can't do 140. I'll think to myself now that the Garner fight was a year ago, yeah. So I've just turned 30, not long turned 30. So that was a year ago, and I scratch my head now thinking, how on earth did I get down to 130? I really don't know how I done it. And when I look at pictures of me at the weigh-in, I'm surprised no one pulled me and said how ill I looked. Obviously, family and my wife said to me, "You look really ill," but I'm not. Oh no, that's always the way at making weight. But looking back, I've never been that bad, and so yeah, that's why I overstayed 130. I feel good at 135, and I could potentially do 140. I believe. Yeah, I'm not a small lightweight.
So obviously, you're hoping to get out into the ring maybe once or twice throughout the remainder of the year. But is it fair to say that next year is going to be the year where you want to be chalking off a British title and perhaps maybe a European title shot that's going to get you closer to that world title that you've been chasing for a few years now?
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, the lightweight division is interesting because Noxie's now Sam's obviously got his world title shot, so that freed up a lot of belts. You've got a British title fight happening on a Frank Warren show in a couple of weeks at lightweight. Um, I don't know what Max's plans are now. Joe Cordina, I'm not sure what he's up to. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't think I'm one fight away. Look, ideally for me is to have a title fight like ASAP next. Like I say, get straight back in there, straight in with a name, and then that puts me back on the map where heading to where I need to go.
Well, I remember obviously when I first started off with Lights Out, you were one of the first guys that I interviewed, and you used to talk to me about the potential fights with the Shakur Stevensons and the Gervonta Tank Davises. And I've got to get your thoughts on the press conference between Jake Paul and Tank the other day. I mean, it just seemed so strange seeing a guy of Jake Paul's caliber having to sort of like look down on Gervonta Tank Davis. And when we spoke about mental health and how serious it is in boxing, I mean, do you think Gervonta Tank Davis is all well up there? I mean, or do you think he's just taking this fight because he knows it's going to offer him a big payday and maybe it's going to keep him active? And do you also potentially think he's looking at this fight as, a walk in the park?
I think he's just like you say, he's looking at a payday. You're fighting what's the weight? 195 is
I,
unbelievable.
I believe so, yeah.
I don't even know how this has even been allowed to go. It's no good for boxing. I can see why he's doing it. Like if someone comes in and offers you a Jake, listen, Jake Paul, to be fair to him, he's doing a lot for the. He's not doing a lot for the boxing. What he's doing, he's making a lot of money, he's making a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? He's putting on, like Ellie Scottney, for example. She's on. I believe she's on the undercard. Am I right?
Yeah.
So he has given opportunity to some fighters because he's got so much money wrapped around him. He is able to put these big shows on Netflix and whatever else. So look, you got hats off where it's due. Like he's generating a lot of money, but in regards of who he's fighting, like Gervonta Davis, it's ridiculous, and he needs to fight someone around his own weight. And the first time he did box anyone who was half decent, well, I say half decent. Tommy Fury's not much. So I mean, he's not even British level, and he got beat. So I can't really get my head around it. To be fair, I really can't. And fighting like some Mike Tyson and stuff like that, it's not good in that sense. It's just where he's putting on where he's such a big name, he's generating a lot of eyes to the shows, which are good for people like Ellie Scotney, for example, who's on the undercard. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I know Jake Paul's fought former UFC fighters and legends like Mike Tyson, but I never thought he'd actually get in the ring with someone like a Tank Davis, who's 10 times smaller than him. But however, boxing is a funny sport at times. I know you've been around the game for a while yourself, and I just have to get your thoughts on something. Boxer announced their first show, which will be aired live on BBC in a couple of weeks' time. British title fight between Jamie TKV and Fraser Clark is scheduled to take place on the same night as the Fabio Wardley Joseph Parker. I mean, as a boxing fan, you're thinking, well, that's brilliant. You've got two true 50-50 fights in the heavyweight division, but now you've got a show clash, and undercards in boxing are just as good as the main event these days. I mean, we've seen Turkey Al Sheikh bring Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn together. We've seen that these rival promotions have shown over sort of like the last 18 months that they can work together. But however, there's still that bit of clash between Boxer and obviously other promotions. Is it a good thing that we're seeing shows being announced for the same night, or has it got come to a stage in boxing where we need to stop show clashes and everyone's got to start working together, even if it means the boxers have got to sort of combine with the zones and the Frank Warrens and the Eddie Hearns of boxing?
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't. Look, it's very political. It's just above me. You know, like, I don't know what the reason is why they've ended up clashing. I can't see the reason that be. I can't really see there being a reason why they're clashing. You know, you would think you just put it the week later or the week before. I can't. I don't really understand that situation. But yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for boxing because, like I say, I'm a boxing fan. You're a boxing fan, and you got two big shows on. And it's going to be hard to tune into them both. So you can't really, you know. So yeah, I don't really understand what that's all about.
I just saw about an hour ago online and social media clips of Terence Crawford having his homecoming in Omaha, Nebraska, his hometown. Rightfully so. I mean, he put on a performance of a lifetime against Canelo Alvarez. He did something that I never thought he'd be able to do, and that's managed to outmuscle and outbox Canelo Alvarez. A great fighter is Terence Crawford. Seems to be getting better with age. And as you said, you're a massive fan, just like myself. What do you think Crawford does next? I mean, would you like to see him carrying on fighting? Would you even maybe like to see him go up to 175? Or do you think now could be the right time to say goodbye to the sport?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's a good idea staying up at that weight, fighting them sort of fighters because Benavidez is he that sort of weight?
Benavidez, Bivol, Beterbiev,
So I
Yard,
mean,
all these fighters.
they're all big men, you know. And look, Crawford obviously can campaign at that level. Look, he's just going to beat Canelo at that weight. Don't get me wrong, but they're naturally big men, you know, and I don't think that would be a good idea. Like you say, what is there left for him to accomplish? But I suppose he's still so fresh. Like age, it really is. He's just showing it. Really is just a number, you know. He's still so fresh, and he has got better with age as he's got older. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does next. I would like to see him fight again because I really enjoy watching him. You know, he's a pleasure to watch. He's such a great fighter. So yeah, seeing him box again would be lovely, obviously, but there's not much for him to accomplish now.
And obviously, just want to get your thoughts on the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benham. We've just had a press conference not so long ago. It's always entertaining when those two are together. What's your thoughts on the rematch? I mean, we know Eubank's teaming up with Bomac. We know Conor Ben's going to be better than the first fight. I mean, how do you see the rematch panning out, Archie?
Is there what's happening with the rehydration clause? Is there
I-
one of
I'm
them still?
I'm not too sure. I don't think there's been like a settlement agreed between both teams, but I do believe something is in place.
See, I don't know. I just think Eubank he blow. It's that's not going to do him any favors. You know, like I'm watching it last time. I just feel like he looks like he's one shot away at getting chinned.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, doing that for the weight it is bad. Like but going in there weight draining and things like that, it's no good for the fight. It's dangerous. Look, will I watch the fight? I most probably will watch it. You know, I probably will tune in. Is it a fight that I think should have happened again? No, I don't think so. I don't see why they've got to do the rematch. It was done the first time, um, and that was it. You know, it was a great build up. The second fight, I can't see it topping the first fight. Just the whole thing, like with Eubank Senior being there, I can't see him topping beating the first fight.
Okay, Archie, before I let you go, what can we expect to see from you in the next 18 months? I know it's a big 18 months ahead of you, and like we spoke about, British title, European title, getting closer to the world title. I know you've got a good following on social media, you've got a solid fan base. So tell us, what can we expect to see from you in the next 18 months? What have we got to look forward to?
Just expect to see me back in big fights, big and then chasing obviously for that world title. As you know as well, I'm now with Mark and Jimmy Tibbs, and I believe that they're bringing out the Archie Sharp that I always know is there. You know, like I've seen people have seen what they know I can do in the gym. You know, and me saying about world title fights and being in these big names, there's a reason why I say that because I know I'm capable of doing it. Like Maxi Hughes fight, someone who's a former world champion, arguably beat Combosas. Um, I didn't even get out of second gear. All I had to do was throw a few more jabs and I'd have beat the fella. But being with Mark and Jimmy, they're bringing out a better side to me, more aggressive side. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being back and start getting them stoppages under my belt again.
Top man. Well, listen, Archie, it's a pleasure as always. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully, we'll get some fight news from you, and then we're going to look forward to catching up with you face to face. It has been a while. We
Yeah.
wish you the best of luck with the new venture with Mark and Jimmy Tibbs, Dan and Rain and Boxing Club. And yeah, once again, thank you for your time and thank you for talking to Lights Out, mate.
No, I appreciate it. God bless you, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Likewise, thank you for your time, Archie.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
No problem.